All right, boys and girls, get ready to buckle up because today we are recording live in the room on one track. And this video is going to take a very similar approach to the 1 hour challenge video I had done where I quickly explained the setup and the limitations that I was going for, and I put it on to you guys to also try the same and see what you come up with. The challenge in this video is going to be the live room one-track recording, where you're just going to record onto one track. You're going to do all of your mixing, your EQing, your compressing, everything before it ever reaches your tape machine or whatever medium that you will be recording to. The way you set up your live room for the tracking is going to be completely up to you. For me, I opted for a minimal setup as possible because we were going for a garage type of sound. We were trying to do a Mummies cover, so it's supposed to be rough and, gritty as possible. So I only have two microphones. I got one ribbon microphone that is placed between my drum set and the Valve Junior guitar amp, and that's serving as like a, overhead for the drum kit as well as a main mic for the guitar amp. And then I have I believe an EV635A on the snare. And this is really more of a secondary microphone to the whole drum kit because it's an omnidirectional microphone, so it's picking up the snare as well as the hi-hat and even some of the bass drum. I don't think I actually use any toms on the song, so usually, it picks up some toms as well. And Alex is going straight through the DI, which I've been becoming more fond of as of recent. The crux of this challenge is really that you're going to have to do all of your mixing, before the song hits, or before the signal hits the tape, right? So it's going to be a lot of trial and error. This is really a difficult thing to do when you're playing one of the instruments and you can't mix while the band is doing a practice run or doing a take or whatever. You can't change things on the fly. So because of that, you have to do a lot of trial and errors. And for this song today, I wind up going through 8 takes until we got a final take that we were done with. And I actually saved a couple of the takes along the way so we could hear how the mix progresses each take. And, after each take, I'm listening to the mix and saying, okay, are the drums too high? Is the bass too low? I'm making these game time decisions and deciding if I should put some compression on the bass a little more. I'm making all these decisions, and we'll listen to the takes as they progress in a little bit. And I think today's challenge is pretty relevant because I have quite a number of people asking me advice on how to mix 2 microphone signals onto one track, during the tracking process rather than during the mixdown. And I never really understood this question. I really don't think there's an answer. I think people are just afraid to commit to whatever they wind up choosing. They're looking for some advice on how to properly mix the microphones, and that's such a subjective thing that there is no answer, right? You could do whatever the hell you want, really. There's no rule or anything like that. It is strictly, you're just going to have to learn to commit and learn to be happy with what you got. And I know people's mindset in the computer-driven DAW world kind of makes you have these unlimited possibilities and et cetera, et cetera. I brought this up in so many times, so many videos, right? But sometimes it's good to give yourself limitations and just commit to whatever you wind up going with, right? And this challenge is perfect for that. It's all about committing. You got one take, and you got no chance to do any overdubs or any mixing changes. It's all in the moment. All right, so let's get down to the takes. Now, just a reminder, I have 3 signals going to my tape machine. I have the ribbon microphone, that's the front of kit microphone, as well as the main microphone for the guitar amp. I have the snare mic, and then I had the third signal, which is the bass DI signal. So I'm feathering the volume of these 3 tracks on my board while I do my trial and errors. So let's take a listen to take 1. I should also mention that I'm sending the bass through a compressor before it hits the tape. I think I put a compression ratio of 6:1, and I also have the 2 other mics going to parallel compression. All right, enough napping. Let's just take a listen to take 1. Excuse me. All things considered, consider, take one actually wasn't that bad at a first stab at where I wanted my levels to be, what I wanted my EQ to be, what I wanted my parallel compression to be. There obviously needed a little bit of work, but for a Mummy-style cover, that honestly would have been good enough if I just left everything as is, if we were really going for a real, garage rock type of sound. But let's go on to take 2 now. All right, we are slowly getting there. Let's listen to take 3 now. To save your time and boredom, we're just going to skip ahead to take 6 now. By this time, I have angled the guitar amp upward, so it's pointing directly at the microphone. And I should also mention that I have everything going through a master brush compressor. I think I did a ratio of 3-to-1 here. Alright, now it's time to listen to the final take, which was take 8 that we wound up going with. This also has some EQ and limiting that I had done during my quote-unquote mastering stage. And then I'm going to flip back and forth between the final take as well as take 1. I just want to see where we started and where we end up, and we just compare the two, and hopefully you get the idea of what you need to do when you need to do trial and errors and stick with your gut feelings. And that was the final product. I was actually surprised how similar the final take was to the first take. In my head, I thought I was doing a lot more to the mix, but apparently not, because that was pretty similar, I'm not going to lie. The performance is what was more of the bigger factor in the final product sounding better than the first take. And I really hope that's making some bells ring in your head, because if that's not a showcase of how the performer and the musician himself or herself has such an effect on the final product as compared to microphone changes, compression changes, etc., etc. It's really, at the end of the day, you're recording someone playing music, and the better the performance is, the better the final result is going to be. It's as simple as that. If you want to watch or listen to the full song, it'll be somewhere in the description. I'm not going to be able to monetize this video because it's going to be copyright striked for a cover, which below, so I figured you could just send me like $20 in the mail or something if that's cool. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Dirty boy.
Man, these cats.
They
They're making me thirsty.